right, hello everyone, and welcome to News and Notes for this week, for Tuesday, the 27th. Now, I am pre recording this a day ahead of time. This is Monday as I'm doing this. So, if there are any developments Monday, which I don't think there will be because it's a holiday, um, I'll be sure to add that on the Facebook. But I figured what we want to talk about here, um, we got everything. So, just going through the easy stuff first. We're still using the Seawolves logo for now. Mississippi's rebrand will be announced next week, a week from today, Monday the 2nd. And it appears, if you haven't been following, there were three names thrown out there, and I think we can kind of throw one of the three out, judging by initial fan reaction. Three possible names. You have the Biloxi Breakers, you have the Gulf Coast Cruisers, and the Mississippi Mosquitoes. A lot of negative feedback on the mosquitoes, which, if you're wondering how that even came about, started off as an April Fool's joke this past April 1st. The team announced it was going to rebrand as Mosquitoes, which, of course, it was the 1 day hoax. But for some reason, they thought, let's go with that. So, or apparently a lot of fans voted for that initially, but the reaction this last time when I saw that they revealed this was one of the three choices, not good. So I think it's going to be either the Breakers or the Cruisers. Anyway, so that's going to be next Monday. All right, the PD Ice Cats. Of course, last Friday they revealed their jerseys, very sharp looking. I didn't expect as much red to be in the logo as there is. Um, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but I think overall it's a really nice logo. They wanted to kind of pay homage to the PD Pride, who was a team in the ECHL for a number of years, and the Pride used a lot of red in their logo, so red became kind of a prerequisite to kind of insert into the color scheme here. So yeah, not as much blue as I thought. A little bit more red and black too. So it's a good bold statement. So anyway, jersey orders are being taken now online. They also have a couple of T-shirts available that you can purchase online as well. For the Topeka Scarecrows, they did start their online store. They said right now they have very limited amount of merchandise, but much more stuff is on the way. They will update the site as stuff comes in. So if you're kind of looking for something that you don't see right now, check back in like 2-3 weeks, and you might be pleasantly surprised at everything that Topeka has to offer. I wanted to throw a little mention into the Port Huron Prowlers here, because it kind of ties into the main thing we want to discuss today, and that is the expansion and dispersal drafts. A lot of interesting stuff that you could glean out of the interview that Will Wiggleman did with Matt Graham, which Matt Graham, of course, is player, head coach, GM. He wears a lot of hats for the Prowlers. He basically he's basically the centerpiece of the organization. And there's a lot of confusion as far as how Topeka got a 13th pick in the expansion draft and how they were able to get Dan Chartrand. So you can watch that. Kind of interesting. We don't have a definitive answer spelled out for us, but it's interesting. It's an interesting little piece. There's still a lot of information from the team meetings that we don't have. And of course, we already mentioned the divisional realignment. and how it's not necessarily going to impact the making of the schedule. Um, so, I mean, that was the most definitive thing we had besides the draft, and there's still some little pieces of confusion with the draft, or the drafts, excuse me. But there were a lot of questions that we wanted answered that I don't have the answers to yet, such as when approximately is the schedule coming out? What are we going to do about the problems we had late this last season with the live streams on YouTube? What's the league going to do? It was discussed, but I don't know details as of yet. A lot of people that were at the meetings, the league meetings this last week, have meetings again this next week. I asked a couple people for some insight, and they said I'll have to get back to you. So we're gonna wait on that. All right. Um, there's a lot to decompress after the drafts. All right, so let's talk about that. The dispersal drafts, 5 teams did not make a selection. For those of you wondering, and you're looking at your team's homepage or the Facebook page, yeah, Athens, Binghamton, Blue Ridge, Mississippi, and Port Huron. Those 5 teams did not make a selection in the dispersal draft, opting to just continue to do their own recruiting and whatnot. So, yeah, if you're wondering, Rock Lobsters fans, who we get? Yeah, nobody. Um, and, they looked at the options that were available to them, decided we can do better just, recruiting on our own. So that's what's happening. So with the dispersal drafts, of course, now you can pretty much close the book for a year for Motor City and for good for the Dashers. Yeah, the logo's back. I can't get rid of it. Keep using it. Motor City. 6 players were chosen by Indiana, 4 by Topeka, 2 by Watertown, and then 1 each with Baton Rouge, Carolina, Columbus, Danbury, Monroe, and PD. For the Dashers, 5 were chosen by, well, maybe 5. We'll talk about that in just a minute. To Indiana, 3 picks to PD, 2 to Topeka and Monroe. Monroe got 2 picks as well, and then 1 each to Baton Rouge, Carolina, and Watertown. So the rest of the players that were not chosen were just outright released. Some of the noticeable names that were given their releases were Jonathan Giuliano, who he's retired anyway. He's done. Jameson Milan, I don't know what his plans are. He's the second oldest player in the league. He might be thinking it's time to hang it up. Ryan Rotundi, he's been around for a while. I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah, he was given his release. For the Dashers, Chris Affinati, retiring. Justin Browson, retiring. Not sure what Mo Levac's plans are. Of course, he joined the Dashers very late. It was for the last 3 weeks of the season. He was given his release. My favorite from the Dashers, Yosuke Jumanji. He is going to endeavor to play either in Asia or for the Australian Hockey League. That's what his plans are for this upcoming year. So he was not going to be in the States this next year. So he was given his outright release. That'll give you a little lead into the video that I'm going to do on June 7th, talking about my favorite player from each team this past year. There were 3 APHL players, essentially, that got released. Doyle, Goar, and I forgot who else there was. But anyway, now the question is, Ian Erdman, there's conflicting reports because on the Fed website, he was listed as outright released. However, on Indiana's Facebook page, they announced they selected Erdman. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. So, and then also with Indiana, they announced that they had gotten Connor Green from the Blue Ridge Bobcats. That did not happen. Connor Green is still a member of the Bobcats. So I'm not sure what got lost in translation there. But anyway, so that's how we split things up. So again, the Dashers are now completely done, over with, sailing into the sunset. For the Rockers, they regroup. They become an inactive franchise, trying to find a way of getting a new home for 2 seasons from now, and starting over. So here we go. This is current roster. And I want to stress something on this. And no, I'm not saying this in any kind of boastful way. I'm just letting you know, because there has been a problem with information and the accuracy of it. This is more accurate than what you find on the Fed webpage. The Fed webpage has not fully been updated to reflect the full rosters of Indiana and Topeka yet. These are, as of this moment, the complete rosters. So you can trust this information. All right, so with Indiana, this is a combination of who they selected from the expansion draft and the dispersal draft, including we just put it in blue. That questionable is Ian Erdman, a member of Indiana. Taking for granted that it worked out, just kind of running on that assumption for now, we're going to put him here, but the question mark is there. All right. So we're saying for now, this is what we got. All right. So 2 goaltenders chosen. Now you'll see most of the players are in purple. There's some in red. This is, if I was a coach, the players in red would be my starting lineup for the 2 teams. Parker Rutherford, again, numbers didn't look good, but taking into account that he was with the Dashers, he had a great season. So I would say he's probably your number 1 goaltender. Bryn Summerfelt most likely falls into the role of backup. All right. You have these different players. This is where they came from: Mississippi, the Dashers, Blue Ridge, PD, Motor City, Port Huron. All right. So I would think, if this is my roster, Ernst and Oakes is who I would want as my first defensive pairing. Then we have our forwards. They selected 12 forwards, 9 defensive men. There's a lot of Dashers here. Dashers gave up 321 goals. So keep in mind, these are the 23 that they selected from the draft. They're still going to do their own recruiting. They're still going to bring in additional players from their own sources. So this is not your final roster. This is just the roster right now. All right. So notables, you have Austin Belfay from the Blue Ridge Bobcats. You have Chris Corrigan, Kabatayev from the Rockers. I think your top 3 are Newman, Soilis, and Wells. Now, Soilis and Newman have played together, so they're familiar with each other. As a matter of fact, I think at the beginning of the year, they were on the same line. So I'd have to go back in the stats for the early part of the year for the HC Venom, but yeah, they're familiar with each other. So you pair them up. And then I think Tristan Wells was probably one of the best pickups that Indiana had. So there you go. There's all your players, 23 altogether. Now, before we get to Topeka, going through them, I want to specify with the summer rosters, teams can now have 35 players on their roster. What they're going to have to do is when they get to October, before they start the season, they're going to have to whittle down their roster down to 19. That's your league roster limit during the season. They have to cut that down within 48 hours of their first game. So you're going to see a lot of names, and that's okay. It's a legal roster. All right, again, that's the summertime roster. Now, all players have to sign. None of these players are signed yet. All right, all these players have to sign by October 7th, or they could get marked as failed to report. We'll talk about that another time down the road. We're not going to talk about that right now. All right, let's go to Topeka. So they only chose one goalie. So that obviously, Bernie. I said Bernie Nichols. No, wrong Nichols. Robbie Nichols, the coach and GM. He's got some work that he's going to be doing, and he planned this. All right, he's going to be looking to pick up another goaltender, probably via trade, but he might also find somebody that he can recruit as well. So right now, Sammy Bernard is the man. Um, I think that's a pretty much de facto number one pick, no matter who you get in return coming in for a second goalie. I think Bernard is your starter. For defensemen, they only chose 7 and went with a little bit more experience. Doug Blaisdell, he's played in the SP. You have Justin Schmidt, he's been around a long time. He's the first signee. He is signed, so that's why he's in blue. I mark that kind of as a distinction there. Schmidt is the one player that is signed by Topeka, and he's not listed on the roster on the Fed website. So go figure. That's why I said that's one of the reasons why this is more accurate than what you're going to find right now on the Fed website. All right. So we have 7. You have the Gagnon brothers, although they're not brothers, they're not related as far as I know. Jacob and Jordan. So that's going to be kind of interesting in the back of the jersey with the nameplate. Gagnon, Jacob from the Dashers, he spent some time in the SP as well. Jordan with Carolina. Actually, both Gagnons spent some time in the SP. All right, so that is your group of defensemen, and then forwards they picked a lot, 14. That's a lot of potential trade bait they can use. We know, according to what Robbie Nichols has said on YouTube, that Oliveri, yeah, he's trade bait. He wants to make a deal. Yeah, he knows Oliveri is not going to be playing for Topeka, but as he put it, hopefully I can get players of equal value who want to play here. So there you go. He just said, the value of Oliveri was too great to pass up. So that's why he made that choice. Anyway, so you have Ross Bartlett. You have that 13th pick, Dan Chartrand. Again, go watch the Port Huron video. Very interesting. I think your first line for offensively would be Scotty Koash, Eli Rivers, and TJ Sneath. Guys that are familiar with each other. Well, now Koash and Rivers didn't play together, but Rivers and Sneath played together. Sneath and Koash played together on the same line, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of continuity there. So I think that's a perfect first line for the Scarecrows with what you have right now. Again, this is going to go through a lot of changes over the course of the summer. Players are going to go out. Players are going to come in. You're going to have more players, 22 players in all for Topeka as of this moment. Carter Thornton was obtained via trade before the draft began. So Thornton was like the second person on the roster after Justin Schmidt. And then we had the trade. They picked Kyle Heitzner, but immediately traded him to Blue Ridge for Alex Norwinski and Jakob Wolf. So you get two players, plus they got some draft picks as well with the dispersal draft. So yeah, it turned out to be a very good deal for Topeka. So yeah, again, there's going to be a lot of changes. If you go with what is here right now, Topeka ended up with a better list, but there's a long off season up ahead. A lot of work to be done by both teams, both GMs. A lot of changing of the rosters, a lot of mixing it up and finding the right fits, and then you've got camp starting in late September. So there's a lot of things are going to happen. Again, this is just what we have as of this moment. These are your two new team rosters. And by the way, the rosters are up for all teams now on the Fed website. I cannot vouch for its accuracy. And again, that's just reflective of right now. Come June 1st, players can start signing with other teams if they wish. So if I'm just making something up because, well, I won't make up I won't use any players that are actually there. If I'm a member of the Columbus River Dragons, and I think, I think I want to play somewhere else this next year. My name is currently on the River Dragons roster, but after June 1st, I am free to, if I decide, you know what, I want to play for Baton Rouge this next year, I'm going to sign with them. That's my prerogative. So we will see a lot of roster changes over the coming months. I'm not even going to announce all the roster moves as we go through the summer because it just would take too long to do. All right. But anyway, for news and notes, this is what we got for today. And I wanted to share that with you. Again, hopefully next Tuesday we have a lot more information as far as what went on in the team meetings that didn't involve the draft, other important administrative things that happened, things that impact you as a fan. Hopefully we'll have a lot more information and get that to you next Tuesday. All right, so that is it. Don't forget Saturday. Up next video that we're doing is going to be quite an interesting one. Mock schedule. I made a mock schedule, not the real schedule. So just want to stress that. But the process of making a schedule is arduous, and I found that out firsthand. So I just want to share with you kind of the things that go into making a schedule, some of the considerations that you have to make. So we'll have a little fun. We'll do our fake draft. You'll see our fake schedule. Excuse me. You'll see how I came up with it. I think it was pretty good, actually. All right. So until then, you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and we will talk to you again very, very soon right here. Make sure you're hitting like and subscribe. Follow me on YouTube, Facebook, and the Flash Audio Network. All right. I'm Gary Ryan. Take it easy.